Yes, WrestleDream going down this weekend from Tacoma, Washington. In the main event, it is Bryan Danielson putting his title and career on the line against Jon Moxley. But a lot to get to before we get to that. We will discuss this as it goes along, and it's something we've talked about a lot with AEW pay-per-views. 11 matches on the main card is too much. And I don't know if someone at Wikipedia is just shitting with us with this thing, but holy fuck, man. It's a lot. And it's one of those where, like, obvious, and look, like, a lot of times I would say, well, and you could stack up some Dynamites and really make, like, must-see TV all the way through. It's not like Dynamites haven't been stacked lately, right? So there is a lot. It's probably too much, but we are probably going to come out of this card and be talking about AEW as the biggest wrestling show or one of the great wrestling shows of the year. So that's probably what's going to happen here. So let's get into it. We will start with the Ring of Honor television, or not television championship, just the Ring of Honor title on the line as Mark Briscoe defends against Chris Jericho. I joined a lot of people in saying that the Chris Jericho line about Jay Briscoe was too far, and it is something that you would hope that Chris Jericho was good enough that he wouldn't need to do in order to get any kind of heat or anything like that, but the Jericho Vortex hasn't really been going all that great for people, so I think that it kind of reeked of desperation, and I didn't think it was necessary. I didn't like it, and so it was just a bit of like a, really? Really. This match is going to be interesting. It's not a match that I think a lot of people thought of in terms of, oh, well, who is Chris Jericho going to wrestle at some point in his career? Well, obviously Mark Briscoe. But I think this will be an interesting match. I think it'll be a whole lot of fun. It's good to get Mark Briscoe on a pay-per-view. I am interested that there has been, I feel like maybe, and this is just anecdotally, it feels like there has been a little bit more Ring of Honor engagement in some stuff lately, and so I do wonder if that ends up being part of the new TV deals and all of those sorts of things. But I think Briscoe gets the win here. That's kind of where I think that this ends up going. I think this is going to be a fun match for sure. Darby Allin taking on Brody King, just a singles match. Darby Allin venting his frustration about losing a championship opportunity, and now he faces Brody King. I think the way they got there was pretty good, where these guys kind of discussed, like, yeah, we have a past, we know each other, and Brody King kind of being jealous of what Darby Allin has. I think that I think they did a pretty good job of getting that one going pretty quick. I think this match is going to be incredibly physical, and it is going to be a match that I think really does get a lot of people's attention and hopefully starts to elevate Brody King a little bit, because that is a project that I think AEW should maybe put a little bit more into. So honestly, I don't know where they go with this one, because Darby feels like he should be above Brody right now. And like you see Darby, and he is just so unique from anything else that is in wrestling. And the entrance is amazing, and the crowd is behind him. I feel like there should be something with him, and if the main event goes kind of the way I think it's going to go, then I think Darby Allin should have a bit more momentum here. So I would have Darby pick up the win in this particular bout. Jack Perry against Katsuyori Shibata for the TNT Championship. This will be another one that is a good match, but I think this is another one that is just continuing to build up Jack Perry and continues to make him feel like a big deal and add another big name to his resume. So I think that's probably going to be the gist of it. And this is another thing, and this isn't a unique one, so I'm not going to go too far into it, but too many titles in AEW, and I almost kind of hope that the way they combined 3 championships last year with, what was it, the Strong, the Ring of Honor, and the Continental Championship, I hope they do that again, but with the International, the TNT, and the Continental, and just combine it into one championship belt for AEW, just one secondary championship for this company right now. But until then, we have international title, and this is going to be, I don't think you could have a more hyped match than Will Ospreay, Ricochet, and Konosuke Takeshita. This is a bout that I think a lot of people are really excited for. And Ospreay, Ricochet, they get the screwy finish, and so it's a little disappointing because so many people have such a great memory of that bout from 8 or 9 years ago. The sport certainly has evolved since then, with a lot of guys doing a lot of things from that match, and so these guys need to find another level, and they didn't quite do that on Dynamite. Still an excellent match, but it was not the caliber that I think you thought these guys were going to get to. Adding a Takeshita in this, I think, is very intriguing, because he is a different style, but he is also a fantastic performer, and I think this is going to be such an incredible bout. I do think that Ospreay comes away from this one with a victory, but I can see this being one of the match of the year candidates, no questions asked. Tag team titles on the line, Young Bucks against Private Party. There's part of me that thinks that they could do kind of a similar thing that they did with the Gun Club, where a team isn't over yet, but we're going to give them the titles and hope that that helps them get over. I hope that is not the case here. I hope that this is the first step for Private Party towards eventually a championship opportunity, than just a, here, take the titles and go. Because that's not going to help them, I don't think, at all. They aren't ready to be champions yet. But I think that this will be a good spotlight moment for them, and a good opportunity for them to show what they can do. But I don't think that this is a show that right now, I don't think this is a situation where they need to be the tag team champions. So I would keep it on the Young Bucks. Mariah May against Willow. It gets set up with a fatal 4-way win for Willow on Dynamite. This will be a good match, but I'm not really buying that Mariah May is going to lose right now. I think there is still a lot of story that is left with that one. But Willow, it's good to see her kind of staying in the championship picture, or getting into the main championship picture right now. Hangman, Adam Page. It is noteworthy, though, just to say, 11 matches on this card, and one of them is a women's match. Just putting that out there. Hangman, Adam Page against Jay White. The Jay White return and response was actually a little surprising. It's not a character that I have felt like has clicked in AEW so far, but he leaves, he comes back, and all of a sudden, he feels like kind of a big deal. I don't think he gets a win here against Hangman Page. I think the Hangman trajectory continues, and I don't think you have him win a blood feud one week so that he can put over Jay White on pay-per-view at the next show. So I think Hangman gets a victory here and hopefully starts to progress his way up the card a little bit more. MXM Collection against The Acclaimed. I don't think this is a match that should be on pay-per-view. Again, this show already 11 matches long, and so this popped up on the Wikipedia page. So if someone on Wikipedia is fucking with me on this, then you got me. Cool. Okay. But this is not a show that needs this match. This is not a match that needs to be on this show. Put it as a blood feud on Collision and call it a day. I will say The Acclaimed wins because everyone loves The Acclaimed. 2 out of 3 falls for Hologram against Beast Mortos. This match will be bananas, but again, this is not a show that needed 2 out of 3 falls for Hologram and Beast Mortos. When you look at the talent and the matches that are going to be on here, I have no doubt that these two are going to put on an unbelievable show. But I worry that it could get lost in some of the other amazing things that are happening. I do understand, like, at some point you do have to start elevating these guys and giving Brody Kings and Darby Allins and all of them a chance, but you should be able to elevate those guys and give them chances on an 8-match pay-per-view card. You shouldn't need 11 matches to be able to elevate your talent, but I think that we probably get a Beast Mortos win in this one. I know Hologram is a pet project for this company right now, but I would say with Mortos joining whatever the Jake Roberts Ingobernables faction is going to be, I think that is kind of the main thing for this right now, and so I think they end up getting the win. And then in the main event, Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Heavyweight Championship. This match is just going to be unbelievable. I am so looking forward to it. Jon Moxley, his promos, I think he's probably the best promo in wrestling right now. I think it is so different. It is so unique. It is perfect for the character while still being real, while still, like, it's all, he just does it in a way that is perfect for every aspect that you would want from a pro wrestling promo. And as I've said before, that there is, I think, reasonable doubt that this is the final match of the full-time wrestler for Bryan Danielson. I think we do get Danielson coming back for spot things here and there, but I do think that there is going to be a title change here, and thus the end of the full-time wrestler Bryan Danielson. I think story-wise, it makes a ton of sense with Jon Moxley getting it to tie up their whole little loose end from a couple of years ago and the start of the BCC and building it up that way. And I think it being in Tacoma is good. I think that they kind of speed ran a couple of these matches to get Okada and Danielson and Nigel McGuinness. And so I think it makes a whole lot of sense for this to be the end of the full-time run here for Danielson and then have him come back in spot whatevers. And I do think that this is probably the unveiling of whatever it is Moxley is talking about. I know a lot of people are thinking that it would be Shane McMahon or something along those lines, and this kind of NWO type of a thing. I think that would be it. And so that's why I think early in the night, it makes sense for Darby Allin to get his win. And now you have Jon Moxley, who is trying to take AEW back from whoever. And you have Darby Allin, who is talking about how important this place has been to him. And that feud kind of elevates us through the rest of the year, full year, and World's End, all of those sorts of things. So that's kind of how I view this whole thing playing out. But I do think it'll be interesting to see this show. Again, I worry it's too long, but I think that this has been overall a pretty well-built show, and there's obviously a focus on getting a few more people over. It's just a matter of can they now. So it'll be interesting to see, but I'm looking forward to WrestleDream coming up this weekend.